Good morning, giggers. Day two. And,
Day two.
Yeah, it's a little bit different than yesterday, that's for sure. We're down on the Nut Rock start, and it's okay. You know, it's a bit choppy, and I wouldn't be worried rowing in this, so don't get worried on dry land, folks. It's a nice, challenging row today, okay? There's no big rollers. It's just cold, but you'll soon warm up. And, you know, what we have to put up with to bring this to you, nobody knows really. What do you think then, Esther?
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting day's racing. We've got this wind coming in from the northeasterly, so that's blowing across the first part of the course this morning. It's certainly going to make it a little bit more challenging for the Nut Rock, but once we're inside the shelter of the island there, we're going to see relatively flat conditions, and I think that's when we might see, I think today we could see the sort of pack stay together really for the first part of the race, and then really put the hammer down when we go into the flat. The interesting one is going to be Aggie, I think. The seeding races for the two senior categories today, because this headwind, we're going to be tied as well. I think we're going to see an advantage actually to the heavier gigs. The older gigs are going to be an advantage, and the heavier crews as well. So we could see things change around quite a lot between Aggie and Nut Rock this afternoon, I believe.
Yep. So like if you're in a big boat and with a big heavy crew, you know, it's this is for you. This is the weather for you. We'll be blown across from here into the harbour, but like Esther said, we'll have a big headwind to row into, so you might see a bit of slipstreaming, people in behind, all sorts going on. And we've also got to look out for the Salonian. I think the Salonian's coming in this morning at some stage.
It is, absolutely. So we have two races for you this morning. We have the women's veterans, so that is the over 40s category, followed by the women's super vets. Just to give you a bit of a warning, we are preparing for the arrival of the Salonian, so we're not going to have the opportunity to loop back and pick up the start of the super vets on the coverage. We are sorry for that, but it is obviously the priority that the Salonian gets in and we finish the racing and everything is safe. Just on those lines, I just want to reiterate a few messages that came across from the safety briefing this morning. Crews that are leaving from Town Beach, can you please make sure that you go out the side of the lifeboat, please? That's just to keep away from the quay. As we came out, we could see the Green Maritha, couldn't we? We've got the Salonian coming in. It's going to be busy by the quays. So for your safety, please keep to that side, and please keep out of the moorings. Mainly there for your own safety, to keep your blades away from the moorings there. Please don't tie up to the mooring lines. They are other people's boats, and we don't want to endanger them in any way. Yesterday we had no disqualifications, which was really encouraging. You know, we want to see that clean racing repeating today. But also just to make you aware of a little bit of maritime safety, really, from the organisers here. If you hear a boat giving you 5 hoots, that is a warning of, I'm concerned, I don't know what you're doing. So if you're rowing, if you're coxing, and you hear a boat around you doing that, please just look up, just check that that's not a message that they're sending it across to you. Okay, so let's go to the women's veterans then. I think we are super grateful for VX3 for sponsoring the vets category here today. They provide a lot of kit for us and also for the many gig clubs, so we are very appreciative for the support. Obviously this is a considerable effort that goes on here, doesn't it, in the stream team. This is my first year doing it, this is my first year seeing it, but it's a considerable effort and it wouldn't be possible without our sponsors, so we very much appreciate their support on that. Would you agree, Lockie?
Oh, indeed. And you know, I'd like to thank all the crew on the boat as well today. You know, we learn every year, and there'll be new stuff happening next year. We already had a little briefing meeting this morning talking about that, and it's all exciting for us, and we love it. Everybody does this for nothing, you know. It's great fun. This is, for me, it's a new lease of life. The last 10 years of not rowing, doing this is wonderful. And with this crew that we have in the boat, we all get on like a house on fire until the food comes on board, and then we fight over the pasties and the sandwiches, who gets the best one, who gets the worst one, who gets the hottest chocolate or the coldest coffee. But this is a really good boat to be on. And Rafe, our skipper, what a wonderful man. He knows this water like anything. So he's just getting underway now, and I'm going to pass the microphone back because I think we're moving.
Okay, so what are we looking at today? We have got the women's vets category. We can see them rowing out to meet us at the start line here. We had 45 gigs in this category, but we are now down to the top 12. It was lovely to see SRV, a Dutch crew in Zealand, coming up yesterday afternoon, as did Catwater rowing Catalina. So they are joining the top 10 today. And then in terms of form, I think we would be surprised to see the form overturned here. Falmouth have dominated both the St Agnes and the Nut Rock yesterday, and I think we're likely to see that continue. Would you agree, Lockie?
Yeah, I would think that they probably have got even more in the tank than we know. They did enough yesterday to stay ahead. There's a couple of times where other boats got close, but just for honour's sake, they kept their bow in front of everyone else, and they're the team, the crews, and the club to be caught today, I think.
I think always the unknown is the island crews, though. We've actually got 2 island crews in the final today. Both boats from the St Agnes Club. So really great to see that. St Mary's, sorry. We don't always, they don't always know where they are in comparison to the mainland gig. So this is always the sort of unknown, isn't it? And, are they holding back? Are they playing a tactical game here? Are they going to bring it to Falmouth in the final? We just never know. And we've certainly seen Salonian crews do that in the past, have we not?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I think we'll find today that the island crews will give it even more. They're very proud about their boats, and they don't want to be beaten by us landlubbers from the mainland. Let's see what happens. But I think yesterday we saw one particular crew that was a mixture of family and all sorts going on, and they'll give even more today, I guarantee it.
We've also got Voos. Obviously, Voos are very strong contenders, I would say, in the women's senior category. And it'll be interesting to see what their veterans are going to do today. In a brand new boat, Voos, built this year by Peter Williams. Have you ever seen Peter Williams' shed in Foy?
Yeah, I have. I've actually lifted a boat out of Peter's shed. He built Alpador's boats, and he's building another one soon. We've had 2 from him. And I don't know if you've been down there and done what I've done, but, not many people can say that they've actually stood underneath a gig, holding a gig up. And it's, I don't know if it's on YouTube, but I think somebody did video it one day, and it's so interesting. You've got to see it. It's wonderful.
I think gig rowers need to do that, because it is something. I feel there's almost something of the sort of like celebration about it, isn't it? Basically, this shed is it's almost like hanging on the banks of the River Foy, isn't it? And the door is tiny where you have to get this boat out. You can only do it at a very high spring tide. It is a beautiful. I row for Castle Door, fine boats in Foy, so I row past it regularly, and every time I row past it, I think I just don't know how they do that. No. But I've seen it done. It definitely needs to be seen. So. Other boats of note that we have out here today is we've got Zorus of Cadgwith and Toby of Newquay. They were both built in 2024, so they're enjoying their second visit today to the World Pilot Gig Championships. And perhaps these newer boats, Zeus, Zorus and Toby, perhaps they've got the advantage in the Nut Rock race this morning, which is maybe going to be more of an issue for the senior crews rowing them this afternoon when they've got that strong headwind.
Yeah, I mean, like we said earlier, the heavier boats I think will probably have the advantage in the long race. But Nut Rock here, once they get inside the halfway mark, I think you'll see like the pedal will go down and away they will go. The lighter, their experienced crews, they'll know what they're doing. And let's not forget the coxswains. If it wasn't for them, there wouldn't be any racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree. And also, we have to remember in our sport, not many people are lucky enough to get coached by somebody in a rib alongside. So quite often the coxes you see here, they're not just responsible for the steering and the racecraft of a crew, but also they have coached, they have trained, they have looked after the crews that they are steering today. So their work isn't just what we see here. It's the hours and hours in the gym, on the water, through the winter, guiding their crews towards the World Pilot Gig Championships. And as we say, we are indebted to the effort that many people put in across many clubs.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, there's so much that goes on off the water that people actually don't realise. It's not just, you don't just turn up and get in a boat. Well, some people do. That's a sore point at most clubs, I guarantee. But, it's an all-in sport. We've got somebody on the boat today we'll be chatting to later who's rowing millions of metres on an ergo, and you can probably all guess who that is. That's Charlotte Stevens from Pendine, and we will have a chat with her how she copes with doing that sort of distance on an ergo. But you know, I've always been a great believer that an ergo is ogre spelt backwards. They've never suited me, but some people they live and breathe them, you know.
I think the one thing that will unite all the crews that come out on top here is the time on the ergo. I've got to give a little nod to Isolde Pullen from Falmouth last night, winning the Masters. I don't think there is anybody here who does more metres on an ergo. When I was captain of Falmouth ladies, she used to easily put in 30,000 metres a week on the ergo. Not quite as many as Charlotte from Salcombe. From Pendine. She's got a few more on her, but it was still, you know, the time and effort the people in these top crews put in is quite impressive.
Okay, well, I've just had Claire wave to us to say that we now need to tell you about the berths and the positions of the boats. Whilst we've been just chatting to you, the place is filled up with, it's like somebody's thrown a box of Smarties on the water. There's all these coloured boats everywhere, and we're just turning our boat now to face them. I'm going to say to Esther, go for it, girl, and let's announce the boats.
Okay, so in berth 1 we have Zeeheld, which is the SRV boat, and in berth 12 we have Catalina from Catwater. They are on the outside. They were the two boats that came up yesterday in the Nut Rock race. Then in berth 2 we have Zelda from St Mary's. In berth 11 we have Zoris from Cadgwith. In berth 3 we have Anne Dowlin from Carridon. They've had great form in the veterans category so far. I wonder if they can continue that. In berth 10 we have Curra's Pride from Lou. In berth 4 we have Cadmus from Salcombe. In berth 9 we have Avus from Helford. In berth 5 we have Spriggan from Charlestown. In berth 8 we have Toby from Newquay, and then together side by side we have Black Rock from Falmouth in berth 6, right in the middle. Berth 7, Tregarthen, St Mary's. I can tell, we can see them lining up behind us, and this is always a nervy moment from crews. You've got to judge that moment. When do you take your top layer off? Because you absolutely do not want to do the Nut Rock race with a base layer on. As brilliant as they are for training, I can't recommend it. So it looks like most of the crews have taken their outer layers off now. They're just moving around behind the line there. They're just coming into position. So they will have practiced their start sequence. Hopefully, I would expect their coxes to be sort of quite calmly just talking them through what they're doing here, starting to think about their start sequences and trying to think about what the focus is for their crew. What have they been working on over the winter? What gets that crew boat speed? That is the crucial thing that you need to be thinking of at present. So we've got the crews, they're just sort of they're loitering with intent there behind us. We can really see them beginning to think about it. We've got Catalina nice and close to us here. We can see Zoris, that beautiful boat from Cadgwith. Curra's Pride, they look together. That's nice. You know, it's always good to see a crew sort of really listening to their cocks. You know, just avoiding any sense of panic. Really, just moving up to the line. Really looking under control. So we've got the women's super vets are just hanging back behind them. They're waiting for their moment. So we've got the vets now, as I say, coming up to the line. We're beginning to hear the radios crackle from the safety boat, which tells us that they're beginning to think about starting this race. Zoris has come a little far forwards from Cadgwith. I'd perhaps want to just drop back here a little bit, because ideally what you want, and this is where the skill of the cocks really comes in here, is these gigs, 32-foot wooden clinker-built boats. What's absolutely crucial is getting them up to speed and getting them up to speed quickly. So if you can row up to the line and hit it at that perfect moment, that you've got a little bit of boat speed as the flag goes down, that gives you an advantage. And our really experienced coxers will be aiming for that. It's get set and go. They are off. Catalina, we can see, has had a brilliant start here on the inside that we can quite clearly see, but it looks like Black Rock are already nosing ahead of Tregarthens. They have had a superb start, but the boats on the inside, as I say, they look like they have a bit of an advantage. I can see Vus just beginning to push ahead of Curra's Pride there. We've also got Zoris here, we've got Catalina, but I can see that boat that boat, we've got Toby from Newquay as well, but we've begun to get the Falmouth crew. They are just nudging ahead of Tregarthens. We are into this race now. That Toby crew, that Newquay crew, they are really going from it. They were 4th last year. They have a point to prove. I think they're up at the moment on Falmouth. That certainly looks like what it is from our angle. We can also see that Voos crew. They are just pushing ahead of Curragh's Pride. But it's neck and neck there between Curragh's Pride from Lou and Zorus. They are really going for it. I love that Curragh's Pride crew. Their technique, you can just see that flow through the boat they're getting. It's really quite impressive. You can also see it in the Voos crew there from Helford. Beautiful rowing that we're seeing here from these women in the vets categories. But we can really see that Newquay crew. We can really see them pulling ahead now. These are some incredibly experienced rowers, but they are going toe to toe now with Black Rock. We can see Black Rock making a bit of a move off Tregarthens, but they still got that Toby crew from Newquay. The women in this boat are extremely experienced. Many of them are very good at that rough, choppy water. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when we hit the island and it just begins to flatten out. Black Rock are now into the lead, we would say. If anything, I would say the stroke rate in Toby has just dropped ever so slightly. What I can see now is Liz Fernie, the stroke rower of the Falmouth crew. She is clear of Tregarthens. Nigel, the cox of the Falmouth crew, he knows what he needs to do now. He knows what he needs to do for his women. He needs to get them out. He needs to get them pushed. They need clear water from Tregarthens. That is the position that every crew wants to go to. Sorry, Jay, can you repeat that for me?
Tregarthens have just taken Toby.
Okay, Tregarthens have just taken Toby, according to Jay. He's just on the top for us here, getting the best view over the line. But it really looks like Falmouth are putting quite a dominating performance in here. They are just really beginning to cruise as we come into the loo of the islands here, where it will begin to flatten out. It will begin to be easier. You can see over on the other side, we've also got the Cadmus boat there of Salcombe. They are really having quite the fight there. I think, is it with Carradon on the other side and Dowland? We can just see them. They are neck and neck. They are looking it out for 4th and 5th. So the positions that we have at the moment, we have Black Rock from Falmouth. I would say they are about 3/4 of a boat length up on Tregarthens. We then have Tregarthens, the St Mary's crew from the Isles of Scilly. They are in 2nd. In 3rd at the moment, we have Spriggan from Charlestown. They are kind of on the rudder there, I would say, of the Tregarthens, the St Mary's crew. So it's everything to play for as we push into this final stretch. Those of you who've been watching gig rowing for years know it is not over now. We have seen many crews being pulled through. And I think, Jay, do you think I'm right here? It looks like that St Mary's crew are beginning to pull through the Falmouth crew. Would you agree? Does it look like they're going up?
Yeah, Tregarthens are literally coming up half a boat length up on Black Rock there. It's still halfway down the course. They've still got a long way to go, but they're making a push for it. You can hear the crowds behind shouting.
Yeah, we can hear the crowds. The Salonian crews, our supporters, are absolutely giving it here. But I think I can see that Falmouth crew just beginning to refocus. But the battle here, perhaps the more interesting battle, is that between Toby and Spriggan, the Charlestown boat. So we've got Newquay versus Charlestown. They want to get onto that podium. They want to celebrate on Sunday evening with the other crews. Who is it going to be? It is neck and neck. I cannot call it between those two boats. And I think, if anything, it looks like the Salonians are pulling back again on Black Rock. Black Rock are really going to have to dig in to dominate this race in the way we were expecting.
Yeah, just going back to the front of the race with Falmouth. I know Nigel in there, coxing. He'll just keep those girls nice and calm, nice and cool. They can let St Mary's come up on them and not let them scare them a bit, and I think that's just going to keep them there, hold their energy, and when we come closer to the finish line, he'll make them go.
I also think the conditions are beginning to flatten out now, and maybe that's the thing that's going to favour Black Rock. She's an interesting boat, Black Rock, built in 2010, but she's still, for many of the Falmouth crews, their preferred gig. She was built by Dave Currer, the last one to come off the old moulds and not be CAD designed, and she's always been a firm favourite of Falmouth crews, and it's brilliant to see her out there again. So, Toby and Charlestown, who are we calling this then? It is very tight.
Yeah, Nuki have made a bit of a pull there forward again. It looks like Charlestown earlier on, early race, early doors, got up on Nuki, but Nuki are now starting to claw back. They've got supporters behind us shouting at them. They can clearly hear them.
We've also got in fifth position there, we've got the Carradon crew of Anne Dowling. It looks to me like they've made that decisive move on Salcombe on Cadmus. We then, I would say, in seventh position have Voos of Helford. They were sixth yesterday. They will be disappointed to drop their positions. They need to move now, make the most of that brand new boat. Then we've got on the far side, we have got Zelda of St Mary's. So that's the second island boat. They have pulled clear of the Dutch crew in Zealand from SRV. And then on this side, we've got a close fight between Currers Plaid, Zorus from Cadgwith and Catalina. I couldn't really call the back four boats. I don't know where they're going to, they're looking for pride here. They're looking for that result. Casting my eyes forward, back to the Falmouth ladies, it really looks like they're beginning to motor now. I rode many a race with Lizzie Fernie, a Three Rivers once, where famously she had a double espresso and nearly killed us with the stroke rate. And it really looks like that's what she's doing. I can see it. She's absolutely laying the power down there from that stroke position. They are beginning to move, but I think Tregarthens are coming back on them again.
Yeah, slowly but surely, inch by inch. But what's quite interesting, going back for fight for third place, I'm just going to move the camera quickly. Oh, so what was Nuki pulling forward? Spriggan have now responded, and now they're pushing again. There's a real tussle for third place at the moment.
We've got an excellent race on our hands here. Falmouth versus St Mary's for the gold and silver. And then we have got Toby versus Spriggan. Newquay versus Charlestown for that bronze medal. I really couldn't call it. Well done though. The women in Roos, they clearly listened to a little bit of my feedback there. I can see them beginning to put the burners on there. I can see Bryony Hadley in the middle of that boat really throwing the weight down. Well done. I think they're moving up to secure sixth position. So well done, Helford. We can also see that Dutch crew and that other St Mary's crew, Zelda, on the outside. They are having a great tussle. The Dutch are not giving up here. We also have Currers Pride and Zorus at the back. That is tight. Katerina looks to me like she's losing touch here. But we have also developments at the front of the race. I can now see clear water between the bow of Tregarthens and the rudder of Black Rock. Nigel Beswetherick, an extremely experienced cox, also coxing his wife Karen in the middle of the boat there. Karen is the most decorated senior rower in gig rowing. She is looking here for, I believe it would be her second Veterans Gold Medal after last year. I'd have to check the stats on that, but absolutely, the two of them central to the success of this crew. It also looks like the positions for the bronze medal, there has been a decisive move here by the Charlestown crew in Spriggan. They really have used this flatter water to their advantage. They've really moved and they've made progress really quickly against that Toby crew. I can see that Toby crew beginning to tire a little bit. They're beginning to pull themselves up on their blades.
Yeah, they've really found the stride. They've figured out how to get that boat moving at optimum speed. You can see Spriggan there, nice long, clean catches. And if you look at Nuki, short and stabby, obviously it looks like they haven't got the muster to keep going through, but fingers crossed for them. They've only got about 20 strokes left in it, but yeah.
Okay, we're well past Toll Island, so we're seeing, here we go, the victorious Falmouth crew. They are heading for another Veterans Gold Medal. Their second in 2 years. Here they come, cross the lines, give them a big shout out. Well done, ladies. That was not quite the dominating experience we were expecting, but it was still a very clear row. They have got clear water to Tregarthens of St Mary's. They are in second. Phenomenal row, St Mary's. Then we have the third place has gone to Charlestown. Brilliant second half of that row for Charlestown. Really impressive to see them breaking Toby in that way. In the fourth place, we have Toby of Newquay. Then coming in behind them, and just seeing the oars go up from the Falmouth ladies, superb work. We have in fifth place Anne Dowlin of Carradon. Brilliant rowing, again represented well in these age group categories. In sixth, they did it, Voos. They maintained their position from the Nut Rock race yesterday. In seventh, we have Cadmus of Salcombe, and then it is very close here between eighth and ninth. Is it going to be the second St Mary's crew, or is it going to be Lou? Lou just look like they're tiring a little bit, but they are throwing everything at it. Heart and soul, they care what their result is here. Then we have the Cadgwith boat, Zorus, just coming in a few boat lengths back. We have the Dutch crew of Zeeland. We have Catalina then as well of Catwater. They haven't lost touch in any way. That was some superb racing, and many of those crews I'm sure we are going to see back out this afternoon on the water in the women's senior race, representing the veterans rower against everybody else. Well done, that was really superb. Now I'm very sorry that we don't have the opportunity to go in and speak to the Falmouth crew. We need to turn around so that we can give the super vets our full attention. But what I would like to just name check the members of that Falmouth crew. So as I mentioned, we had Nigel Beswetherick coxing them. We had Amy Hamilton Lilly, Liz Scholes, Karen Beswetherick, Liz Fernie, Mary Trapp and Otti Skews. Well done, ladies, a fantastic row. So we're just waiting for Steve, our very experienced drone pilot here. It's quite impressive skills what he manages to do. There's driving as a drone, which is hard enough, and then there's landing them on the boat, which is seriously impressive. So we are looping back now to the Super Vets. This is the race that, to be honest, I think is the high profile one for this morning's lineup. I want to see who's going to do this, Teen or Salcombe. We had Salcombe in Bolt winning the Agnes race, but then we had Teen winning the Nut Rock race. Who is it going to be, Lockie?
Well, you know, I'm a Devonian, I'm sorry to tell you all, but my heart tells me it'll be Teen. They've really come through the ranks this last few months. New boat, and I think they've actually tweaked their training program a bit. They really are a force, and my money will be on Teen.
Okay, we'll see that. So, sorry, I was loitering there to get the mic off you so I can take you through these crews. So, in berth 1, we have Len White of Appledore, Lockie's club, so just going to give them a shout. In berth 12 on the outside, we have River Foy in Troy. In berth 2, we have Heart of... can't remember quite the rest of that boat's name. I'm sorry, from Langston. Hailing, sorry, it wasn't written on my sheet. Then in berth 11, we have Shocking from the United Rowers. In berth 3, we have Carrick from Truro River. In berth 9, we have Swift from Rock. In berth 4, we have Q from the River Foy. In berth 9, we have Swift from Rock. In berth 5, we have Morgul from Helford River. In berth 8, we have Mounts Bay from Kenza. And then right beside each other again, first and second, Nut Rock and St Agnes. We have Teen Spirit in berth 6. That's Teen. And in berth 7, we have Bolt from Salcombe. We are very appreciative this year of the support that we have had from Skinner's, Sharp's Brewery, and Doombar for getting us out to this amazing event. It is very much supported. Where is your Doombar hat?
I'll have that for this afternoon.
Okay, so we had 45 crews start this event, and we are now down to the final 12. So these are the elite Super Vets women. Okay, we have in this event, we have Shocking. This is the boat that was previously the Tregarthens. So Tregarthens have kept that name, hence we just saw their new boat. She was built in 1999. She was owned by St Mary's, so she's very much coming home. But we also have Teen Spirit As you mentioned, this brand new boat built by Patrick Bird. She carries the registration plate 240. So, Appledore, they've got a boat coming, have they not, from Peter Williams? Will they get 250, do you think?
I don't know, really. Peter's got such a waiting list. You know, you've almost got to beg to get on it, and I know we are on it, and there are a few clubs in front of us, but you know, we've got to raise £35,000 plus to pay for it as well, so it's a bit of a gamble when you order a boat that you are actually going to have the funds to pay for it, and we always get there. But there is a story going, and it is a correct one, that Curragh Pride was initially a boat being built for somebody else, another club, and the other club decided they couldn't go through with it, and then it goes and wins the world championship.
I think that was greatly helped by the rowers in her, though. You know.
I know the club, and they know they won't mind me saying this, but they would have not won the world championship in that boat.
Fair enough. This is River Rivalry as well today. We have 8 of the clubs here are river rowing clubs that have made the Ladies Super Vets final. So this is the tussle of the rivers this morning, apologies.
Yeah, so I mean this weather should suit them really. I mean, we don't really get big seas in rivers. We get choppy water like this. We get big tides in rivers, obviously. And Salcombe are river racers, Dean, Appledore, Foy, there you go. So, we also have reservoir rowers now, and there's quite an active programme going on now with Roadford Lake up in North Devon, North Cornwall, Devon border, and Bude have used that to make them a much better club. They're rowing on what I call consistent water, which helps.
We saw that yesterday, didn't we, in the men's vets? That St Agnes race, that Bude crew. They're still maybe my little outside nod for a podium position. I think.
Yeah.
I think maybe they would take it easy. So I'm going to turn my attention now towards this women's Super Vets final. So like I said to you earlier, we do apologise that we didn't catch the start of this race. The reason is that we're very anxious to make sure the racing is finished before the Salonian comes in today. So they couldn't hold it for us to loop back. But here we are. We are coming now to the front of this women's Super Vet. So we have had 2 gold medals for Falmouth Gig Club. We have had 1 gold medal for Carradon. Who is going to get this 4th gold medal that is up for grabs this morning? It looks very, very even. On the outside there, I can see Q from the River Foy up against Teen Spirit. At the moment, as we draw alongside, it seems to me like that is the boat to those other 2 boats taking it to each other at the early part of this race. I think Teen Spirit is just slightly nosing it, okay? So we had Lockie's little mention earlier on for Teen Spirit. They seem to be taking on the early part of this race. They are about half a boat length up on Bolt, and then we have Q on the other side there, the River Foy boat that is also in contention, but they look like they're ever so slightly dropping back at the moment. We still have Kenza in contact as well. The drone's just gone up, you'll be glad to hear, so we'll have that footage from overhead coming to you any second. So we have the river, the Teen Spirit boat in front, that's Teen, but if anything, I think Salcombe look like they are moving up now. Do we also have, is there a green boat there as well that I can spot that is in there in the top 4? So we got Morga as well, the Helford boat in there too. So that is great to see, though they look like they're struggling a little bit just to get consistent blade catches here. We really have got quite a short catch here. Little shout out as well to Lightning here. This crew on the inside from Dart, they are really moving up on Swift, which is excellent to see. And they, to be honest, they are also taking it to Kenza. So we have quite a line. We have, as we sort of predicted, we've got Teen and we've got Salcombe neck and neck. To me, from the angle that I'm looking at, it really looks like Salcombe are beginning to take this to Teen. They let them go out, but they stuck to their race plan. And then behind them for that bronze medal position, well, I think we've got 5 crews in contention here. We've got Dart, we've got Swift, we've got Kenza from Mounts Bay, we've got Morga, and we've got Q on the outside. So it is absolutely everything to play for. We've got the Dutch crew shocking, and we've also got the Foy crew that are in Troy just falling back a little bit, as we've also got the Heart of Hailing back there as well, and they are alongside the Ilfracombe boat Len White. So those guys are just dropping off the pace a little bit, all as are Carrick. But at the front, it is these top 7 crews. They are not split by anything. We've got Teen and we've got Solcombe. They will, honestly, their legs will be screaming at this point. There is nothing more agonising than being side by side with a crew. You are absolutely throwing the weight down at this stage. You're really trying to lean on those arms, really get that power transition coming through your feet, through your cast to that outside arm. Just trying to put everything you can down for your crew, and you're just staying side by side. They just have to stay with it. They have to believe, though, in their race plan, in their cocks. They know what they're doing. But Bolt have done a brilliant job here on moving up, and I've got every faith that they're going to continue to push through because they're showing such resilience. It's just great to see. But like I said, the position for bronze, well, it could be anybody's between Lightning, Swift, Kenza, Morgar and Q. To me, it looks like Morgar have it at the moment. They're just edging up on Q. But Kenza, honestly, there's nothing in this. Lightning and Swift as well, as crews begin to just sort of drop off the pace as we head towards the islands, it's quite possible that they could make it. But Teen have really made a little bit of a statement here. They are really putting the burners on. I can see, it looks from the angle that I'm at, Bolt's bow fender is on their 3-rower. Now they're 4-rower. So you can really see Teen beginning to squeeze. They're beginning to move on. It's making the distance. The bow fender's on the 5-rower. This is it. They're pulling it out. Well done to Teen. Now they're on their stroke rower. It's making all the difference. Teen are really putting it down here. I have to commend that effort, because to be in the lead, have somebody come back at you, and then to find the energy to go again takes a phenomenal crew.
Yeah, here we go again. So it's fight for third place. It was a big tussle between Helford and Q from Foy. But Q are now really making a drive for Solcombe. So Solcombe need to be wary here, because Foy are coming up pretty fast. They're about half a boat length up on Solcombe. They could lose that second position, but Tina well ahead in that lead there. So they've got nothing to worry about. They just need to keep doing what they're doing. But it's a real fight now for second place.
It really is, and that stroke rate in the Teen boat as well. You know, it's high, and they are maintaining it. They just need to keep their composure now. They just need to keep getting the bodies back in the boat. Just keep on piling the effort against the Solcombe crew.
And more coming to join the party. Kenza, Mounts Bay, they're coming up, and they're coming quick, and they're taking third place off of Helford and Foy out of literally nowhere in a matter of
that
seconds.
Is seriously impressive. Again, I can see Kenza just nosing ahead of Morgar. You've got Q there as well, but Solcombe is really, they're beginning to tire a little bit here, I feel, though they're keeping their composure. What's quite impressive is that stroke rate is still nice and high, and they look like they've got this under control. Can they keep Kenza at bay though? I'm not sure they can.
I'll tell you what, Mounts Bay are literally on that rudder of Solcombe. They're gunning for second place. If they keep this up, Tina is pretty clear got the lead at the moment. They've got nothing to worry about, but I reckon Mounts Bay might have second place here.
I've just clocked the Bolt crew doing a stroke rate of 35 strokes per minute. They are putting everything out there, and it is beginning to pay off. But also, we have this Dart crew, Lightning, coming up on the outside. They are beginning to push Kenza. We've also got Morgar. We've still got Q on the outside. Any one of these 4 boats could have that bronze medal. I feel silver isn't beyond anybody either. We are just coming up now. We are past Toll Island. That is 60 strokes and less to go. We've also the Dart boat is really moving, as is Kenza. Kenza is moving up with every stroke against Bolt. Kenza is now on the cocks of Bolt. I can see their bow fender on the cocks. Come on, Ounce Bay, this is a phenomenal row. Many really experienced rowers in that crew. We've got Halford up there, we've got Dart and Lightning. Q have dropped off the pace a bit, but Kenza are really making progress here. They are now on that 5 rower. They are moving up to the middle distance. Teen have got this. They are going to be the Women's Super Vets World Champions. But Bolt, are they going to hold on for second position? And do we think Kenza have got third? That's what it looks like at the moment. The Teen crew, they are coming across the line. That is a phenomenal race. Well done, Teen. I am so impressed with your resilience. And they're celebrating. Their cocks is up in the air. They are punching the air. The oars are up. That is quite spectacular. So we've got Bolt coming in second. Do we think we've got Kenza managed to secure that third position? It was Kenza, it was Dart, it was Halford in Morgar. They were very close. Then you've got Q just slightly behind the pace there. We've also got the Lou boat of Swift.
And now we've got my cucumbers from Truro coming over the line. Well done, girls.
And sorry, I've got the club wrong there. It is Rock in Swift. I do apologise. So yeah, Truro just coming across the line now in that Carrick, that beautiful boat. We've also got the Heart of Hailing coming across the line, completely committed to the end. That stroke rate still high. They are fighting the Dutch in the shocking boat. Brilliant. Then we've got Len White from Appledore. They have not lost contact. And then all kudos to the strength and depth we see in the Foy Club, because we have got a second women's Super Vets crew coming over the line now for the River Foy Gig Club. That is quite an exceptional final. Teen, I was so impressed. Just to have the resilience, to have Salcombe coming up on you and to not let them through.
No, that was crazy. That was a great race, and well done, Teen, for helping me out by predicting you to win it. Bolt from Salcombe, they ran a great race, but the boat that really impressed me at the end was Lightning from Dartmouth. They flew in. They absolutely flew in. I'm not sure whether they might have been third. I don't know.
I don't know. We couldn't call that one on the line, could we? Nikki Murdoch's at home trying to keep up with the socials, but sorry, Nikki, we couldn't call that one. It was too close to call.
That was one of the most exciting races I've actually seen for a long time.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Full kudos to the rowers involved with that. That fight for third race. I just cannot tell you how painful that must have been to know that you're either going to get a bronze medal or you might come seventh.
Yeah, well, no shame in that. It was, it's about the crowd as well. People want to see that sort of racing.
No shame, but also heartbreaking for the crews involved.
I'd be crying.
Yeah, fair enough. So that wraps up the women's age category events. So can we run through the runners and riders? We have had Falmouth. They have won 2.
Yep.
We've had Carradon win 1.
Yep.
We've had Teen win 1.
Yep.
No, we've had Carradon win 2, haven't we? I'm losing track. Okay. So anyway, Teen has come to join the party. So they're, really exceptional. I'm going to give you a little run through as well through the crew names, just to give them a little bit of a name check here as well. Bear with me while I just sort out my paperwork.
Paperwork's very important, but I'm not the best exponent of that, to be fair. Here we go. Let's give you a shout out on those names.
Okay, so congratulations, Teen. As I said, phenomenal race. Just the resilience to sort of keep Salcombe at bay was something else. So Andy Burfitt, the Cox, Caroline Vanstone, Catherine Lovell, Katarina Miller, Diane Shaw, Jane Avery, Suzanne Heath. Just brilliant to see another club up there on Sunday night collecting their gold medal. We couldn't be more impressed, could we, Lockie?
Big flag for Devon as well. That's some big sculpts for the Devon crews there.
Absolutely, some gold going over the border. We're not we'll about give it to Caradon, just hanging there onto the banks of Cornwall.
Absolutely, it's an honour.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us this morning. We can already see the men's veterans and super vets crews beginning to go out to the start line, so we will be back with you shortly to bring you that coverage, and we are looking forward to it. Let's hope it's as good as that race.
Yeah, thank you everyone. Cheers.
There's one. Right, now we drive 10 big ones and